In today's intentional conversation, you'll meet Jennifer Doyle. She's the president and CEO of the Foundation for Enhancing Communities. Jennifer spends her time leading an organization on stewarding hundreds of millions of dollars for nonprofits doing great work in our communities. Well, good morning, Jennifer Doyle, president and CEO of the Foundation for Enhancing Communities. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Just curious, where are you from originally?
Originally born in North Carolina and have lived in the Hershey area and the surrounding general area since I was 5.
Yeah. What brought you to this region?
My father was a dentist, and his dental travels brought us up to Pennsylvania.
And how long ago was that?
Oh boy, you're going to make me show my age.
So you've been here for
45 years.
Okay, so you've been here so this is home.
It is.
This is
absolutely
home for you.
It is.
Good. And how long have you been in your current role?
Current role, a little over a year.
Okay.
I've been employed with the Foundation for Enhancing Communities, or TFEC, for almost 17 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you came right up through the organization and ended up in the CEO seat.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It's been a journey. I started as a grants officer, was hired into that role, and just continued to have the opportunity to see TFEC grow and evolve. Assumed the scholarship responsibilities, and then was asked one day, and will never forget the day, have you ever thought about doing development? And I looked right at the person, and I said, no.
Yeah.
No. And here we are.
There you are. What drives you? What's passionate for you about this foundation and its purpose? And what's the thing that gets you up and gets you going?
We are, as a community foundation, based. Our roots are in community. And everyone's responsibility to the community, whatever that looks like. For some folks, it's working with older adults. For some folks, it's being passionate about higher education and scholarship funds. And for me, it's animal welfare. That's my why. But the opportunity that we have as a community foundation to get to know someone and find out what they're passionate about, and then be able to work with them in a way to not just meet their goals, but to maximize them through the structure that we've built as a community foundation, and then see their passion in action. That's what does it.
So tell us more about the foundation.
Sure. So as the local community foundation, we are a nonprofit organization. We are entering our 105th year of service, and our responsibility, I look at it as two sides of a coin. The one side of the coin, our responsibility is to working with individuals to meet their charitable goals, whatever they are. On the other side of the coin is to impact, to enhance, to improve the communities, not just for today, but for future generations. So community foundations are built on endowment, so perpetual support into the community as the community's needs change. And that is our responsibility. We cover a geographic footprint of 5.5 counties in South Central PA. So our responsibility and our privilege is to know the entire landscape of what's happening in those 5.5 counties. What are the needs? Where are the gaps in services? How can we best support the nonprofits who are providing those critical services? How do we build their capacity? Because they're helping our neighbors every single day. And so we host 15 rounds of competitive grant making into that 5.5 counties of nonprofits every single year. And grant applications are submitted from the nonprofits. They're reviewed. They're evaluated by an entire host of volunteers, and then dollars allocated where they're best needed in the community.
Gotcha. So you're stewarding a pretty significant amount of funds.
We're a little over $200 million right now, and about $50 million of that are assets that are under our management. So they're not owned by TFEC, but we are in a contractual relationship with a nonprofit who owns those assets, but they're paying us to do their investment services or to do some of their bookkeeping or to run their scholarship program because we have the infrastructure to do that. We're really, really proud of the investment returns and the philosophy that we have. And so we're sought by other nonprofits and foundations to do that work for them.
So tell me more about that, how you would define success.
Visibility and awareness of the opportunity to engage with us to change the community. Really, it's about being that resource for individuals who are charitably inclined or who may be exploring what's going on in the community and how do they get involved in their community. And I think, too, to be seen as a connector. So success to us is being able to connect this nonprofit with that nonprofit down the road because they're doing similar things. And while, of course, we want our assets to continue to build, but we want our assets to build because then that's that money going out into the community. So the more assets that we have, the more donors who are entrusting us to steward their dollars charitably in the intent that they have, that to us is the impact going back out on their behalf. So that it's bottom line, but it's dollars then going back out for a charitable purpose.
The Harrisburg region, it's a very complex region, demographically, psychographically, in all these different areas. What do you love most about the region?
The diversity that it offers, all the different sectors, and really that's where we rely a lot on our partners. So we partner with the United Ways in our region, and we partner with other funders in our region because we're all working to help lift up our communities. But we can't know everything. So really immersing ourselves in the community, that new structure that I talked about will really help us develop resident content experts in those communities. But I think the diversity, the rural nature, the cities, the towns, and really, again, you alluded to South Central Pennsylvania, very geographically divided in a lot of ways. Of course, we have the Nile that we have to cross to go to the other shore, but trying to start having conversations and convening conversations around breaking down those geographic silos. Because again, not one funder has enough resources. We all need to be working together to support our communities. And where the county line break is doesn't mean homelessness. It looks different from this side of the shore to that side of the shore. And how do we work together more collaboratively?
Covering 5 counties, multiple layers, I would imagine, of need throughout the county. How many people are on your staff that manage all that activity?
A mere 20.
Wow.
We follow very closely our strategic plan. So we do have a business plan. It's divided into sections. Culture is very important to us. Equity and access in the community is very important to us. Our scholarship program, our grant program. And so we do have goals that we are all working towards together.
I want to come back to the 200 million. It's a big number. Does that carry some weight on you?
Yes, and so yes, that's a lot of assets that we're responsible for. We're responsible to steward appropriately on behalf of the donor who has entrusted us to do that. So there's a big responsibility there, and so it is a responsibility and a privilege at the same time. And at the same time, those aren't our dollars. So legally, when we talk about the legal ownership of those assets, they are legally our assets. We're stewarding them for the community on someone's behalf, and they've trusted us to do that as a partner.
So how do you then ensure or protect, like knowing everything's being done ethically, responsibly? What measures do you put in place to protect yourself, the organization, the staff, that sort of thing?
Oh, that's a great question. So we're governed by a volunteer board of directors that is very in tune with our strategic plan and monitoring and regular check-ins and reporting in that fashion. But we're also accredited. So community foundations have the option to voluntarily accredit through our national membership group, which is the Council on Foundations. We have chosen over the last 10 years to maintain that accreditation. So it's the good housekeeping seal of approval. So there's an entire booklet of regulations that we need to make sure that minimally we are meeting. And so we maintain that accreditation. We stay up to date on all the best practices in the sector, in the field. Charitable giving is highly regulated by the IRS, which is why we have an attorney on retainer. Just a phone call away when someone invariably asks a question that we've not ever got before. So we rely heavily on our legal support, and it's our job to know the requirements around charitable giving.
Yeah. Is there also a legislative side to what you're doing in
No.
communications or anything that goes involved with any of that?
No, and so as a nonprofit, we cannot do that kind of work. We look at advocacy and lobbying from education. We are happy to provide education to whomever may be interested in learning that.
Gotcha.
But in terms of lobbying as a nonprofit, that's not something that we do. Now, again, through that Council on Foundations membership, they do have an entire lobbying arm that is the voice of the community foundation sector. So they'll go onto the Hill and have conversations with the Ways and Means committees, and they'll do that work on our behalf. But that's not something that individual community foundations typically do.
Yeah. All right, so back to 20 people. $200 million, 20 people, 5 counties. How do you stay informed in really substantial geography and multiple layers of needs? How do you stay informed, and how do you stay connected to your staff? And how does that all connect? How do you stay connected out into the community? How do you manage so many layers of what I would assume to be your responsibility in more ways? Like, it doesn't feel like a typical CEO job to me.
That's interesting. And we're evolving in that space, newly in this role. My mantra last year and into this year is, as a community foundation, it's our responsibility and it's a privilege to get to know our entire footprint. And the mantra is we need to be in, of, about, and around the community. So we have made such a diligent effort in the last 15 months to be in the community. And, we were in Lebanon last week, and a group of nonprofits said, "It's so nice to see you here in Lebanon." And so we've reorganized and restructured some departments that allow for almost like a case stewardship, so that we have experts in each community, experts in each county. Franklin County looks very different than Lebanon County. We're also fortunate in our community that there's data. There's a lot of data available. Our hospital systems that are nonprofit have to do a community needs assessment every 3 years. So we stay on top of that data. We look at what other organizations, the United Ways sometimes do needs analysis, and we pull all of that together, and that informs what the needs are in our community. And we just this year released actual one-page fact sheets for each of our counties that list a full consolidation of all the secondary data that we found. And these are the top needs in each county. And we're using those as a communication tool. Because people may not be aware what the needs are in the community. And then it's our job as well, too, to be that source for questions. So, we work very closely with advisors, so attorneys, accountants, anyone who's meeting with an individual, and invariably the topic of money or an estate or a legacy is going to come up. And so our job is to make sure that those advisors know that they don't have to have all those answers, but they can just reach out to the Community Foundation, because it's our job to know who is doing good work in the community in animal welfare. Who are the rescues that are in Dauphin County? Because we will get asked those types of questions. And how do we support our clients as they're considering what is their legacy? How do they think about what that is, and as it relates to the community and what their passion is?
Yeah, so you have donors that are giving to the endowment. Then you have nonprofits that have their own funding that you're helping to, I'll say, manage. And then you have the services that you're providing out into the community. How then does the community understand that there's something there to be offered?
That is our biggest challenge. We are a nonprofit. You know, we're fortunate, very fortunate to have out of our 20, we have a marketing team of 2, and they are serving every aspect of all the, the businesses and the services that we offer. And we speak to a lot of different populations. So our stakeholders, we kind of bucket into 3. So I just talked a little bit about advisors, nonprofits themselves, not just from the grant side of what we offer them through the competitive grant program, but there's other services and ways we work with nonprofits, and then donors, which is anybody in the community. And so we're members of chambers. We speak at Rotary clubs. If someone is willing to open the door, we are more than happy to go in and share the opportunity that we offer folks and the support and the partnership and the connections we can help assist with in the community. We hear somewhat regularly, I didn't know you were there. We're 105 years old. We have people right in Harrisburg who will say, I've never heard of you.
Best kept secret in town.
Right. We're a nonprofit. We don't have a ginormous marketing budget. But we get out in there and we're having conversations and educating.
Yeah. Do you rely heavily on a volunteer base?
So our board, we have a board of 20, all volunteer, and we have in sum total in our standing committees that are all volunteer that support the board, probably 70 people. But we're not typical in terms of volunteering for an organization. Our volunteers are those governing bodies.
In terms of attracting volunteers, is that a challenge for you?
I think it's a challenge for all nonprofits, for sure. I think COVID has really changed the volunteerism landscape. We have a really nice brand new recruitment packet that we're sharing in the community. You know, the best way to recruit and maintain volunteers is to build that pipeline. So again, it's all about having conversations. It's all about telling the story. It's telling folks how we can assist them and finding out what they're passionate about. We have a specific scholarship fund, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives Scholarship Fund. And there's a very competitive essay component to that. The essay changes every year. The Speaker of the House designates the essay. And there are people across the state who love reading those essays. And so they're asking to be considered, for that. But again, it's the awareness that those opportunities exist. And so it is a challenge. It is a challenge. And that's also when we're going out into the community and we're going to chamber events. It's building relationships every day, wherever we go.
Yeah. I'd imagine you've had some hard decisions to make, even just in a year, and hard learnings, like things you've had to learn that maybe were difficult for you, just to cross over into saying, okay, I have to deal with this. I have to learn this. I have to make this decision. What strikes you in that?
I think change management. We have been on a journey the last 2 years through this transition, really taking a step back and looking at what doesn't serve us and how can we become more efficient and continue to do the good work we do, but let's look at doing it differently that's more effective or more engaging or more community-minded. And so we have made some pretty significant changes to our early education department, to our other special initiative, the Fund for Women and Girls. So we've really taken a step back and reflected on the purpose. Why are we doing this? And is there a better way to do it? And that's multiple minds around the table. Our team is amazing. They ask questions, they grow and they stretch, and we're all learning together too. Our community evolves and we need to evolve with it. And so we're constantly having those conversations. And I encourage new folks when they come in, ask, why do we do this? Why do we do this way? Have we thought about doing it another way? Those are the challenging conversations that we have around our growth. And we're in a really nicely aligned position too. So our current strategic plan ends this calendar year. So we are contracted this year to do some pretty significant organizational visioning. Who do we want TFEC to be when we grow up?
Yeah.
And so this year is dedicated to serving the community and having conversations with the community and looking at who we are and what we do and our perception, and building the roadmap for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I like to say to my team all the time, the only thing constant is change. So regarding change management, what might be 1, 2, 3 practical, tangible things that you can share with us that you've done?
Sure. So we've done a lot of work internally in our team around culture and the culture that we aspire to have and the impact that that has on the community, but acknowledging the change. There are going to be emotions with change, acknowledging them, having the safe space to talk about them. And then to talk about what serves us, what doesn't serve us, and then having many voices at the table, having an opportunity to have those conversations. So I think you have to acknowledge it's constant and can be uncomfortable and is impactful. And so working through that and just continuing to reflect on that. So we have a word that we are really... it's really resonating with us this year, and that word is grace. And really practicing grace with people's questions, with how we interact with each other, with decisions we're making, and just really using some of those tools to have the emotional space to have those conversations.
Well, Jennifer Doyle, thank you. Thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us today for Intentional Conversations. Our hope is that this will inspire you at some level, something you've heard today that will be a takeaway for you. Maybe you'll share it with a friend or a family member or someone in business. Intentional conversations are exactly that. They're made to be intentional. I hope you have some.